We are celebrating this morning Chaconia Silver Awardee 2022. Mr. Victor Edwards is here with us in the studio, and we're showing off the award this morning because we're just so proud. Like Tambo was saying in that song, we have to show more love for the things we own, for their future is our concern. And Mr. Edwards, I think that this is long overdue because you've definitely proven that you are concerned about our future, concerned enough to make sure that we secure it in some way, form, or fashion, and in your way. And we thank you so much for it. And the nation thanks you.
I am very humbled by the award. I have persisted for years trying to really showcase Trinidad and Tobago through the work that I've been doing. You know, so.
What inspires you to, like, I mean, I know that your background is teaching, and art and creativity and theater and all of these things. But what inspires you to stay so true to it over all these years? Like, I mean, you've decided, all right, I'm going to do books. I'm going to make sure that we have literature in place for our students to be able to learn this thing properly and to carry it on. What inspires you to be able to do that?
Love of nation. I grew up at a time when having that sense of nationalism was very, very important. And I always wanted to be true to Trinidad and Tobago. So, I mean, you have your Calypso show, but I know Calypso like the back of my hand too. You understand? I know the history of Trinidad and Tobago very well. And, you know, growing up, a certain proverb, you know, resonates with me, you know. Until the lion begins to talk, you know, we will always hear the story of the hunter. I see myself as the lion. So I want my stories told. And if you've looked at the work that Irie Theatre has been doing, and the work that I've been doing as a curriculum coordinator when I was at the Ministry of Education, it had to do with promoting Trinidad and Tobago. If I could just give you a little story. When the original CXC Theatre Arts curriculum was shown to me, I took it and I threw it aside. And I said to them, I said, this is a curriculum that you can take wholesale and rest it in the hands of the educators in Sweden. And the children in Sweden would be able to do this. I said to them, this curriculum does not represent us as West Indian people. So therefore, if we're doing a curriculum in theater, drama and so on, dance, art, what have you, music, it must represent who we are. So that is when they went back and they came up with the idea of cultural forms. So all of the cultural forms from throughout the Caribbean are now represented in the schools, in the theater arts syllabus and so on, so that when students study theater arts, they're actually studying themselves. And to me, that is one of the greatest things in education in terms of the arts and so on that has happened.
Yeah. And you made that happen.
Exactly. No, Mr. Edwards, I like what you said. You said you have this passion and this inspiration to do it because you grew up during that time of nationalism, of patriotism. You know, one of the things that Dr. Rowley said when he opened the buildings around the Magnificent Seven for the arts exhibition, he was hoping for a return of that nationalism and that patriotism. Do you think it's missing? And if it is missing in our population, how can we get back to that point?
Well, the thing is, the pathway is really through the education system. We have to start back teaching our history. We have to start back teaching social studies and ethics and civics and so on. Teach the children to sing the national anthem properly, learn the pledge, understand the meaning of God bless our nation. Just yesterday on Facebook, I had to remind somebody, you know, one of the God bless our nation says, God bless our leaders, give them grace to guide. Why are you putting up all these banners all over the insulting our leaders? Regardless of who they are our leaders. And what we're supposed to be doing is praying for them, praying that they get the proper guidance to do the correct thing so that they could take the nation forward. I don't care who you are. You're my leader. I will not disrespect you. As much as I might disagree with some of the things that you're doing, I can say that I disagree, but I will not disrespect. Because when the children now begin to disrespect the teachers, when the children now begin to disrespect the leaders and the teachers and so on, who's going to correct them? When we as the adults setting the wrong example.
So would you say then that the leaders have been setting the wrong examples as well? Because
No, you're getting me into politics.
no, but I had to ask because you're saying that, right? But if it's
Yes,
the
yes.
same children,
I'm saying yes, we are.
yeah, the same children seeing the same leaders disrespecting each other.
Exactly.
So then, how do we take
Exactly.
example? How do we?
Well, we can't take example. What we have to do is to breed a particular kind of people within the education system. And as you understand, systems are degenerating, they're breaking down all over. And the standards that we once set for ourselves, we no longer maintain. And that to me is a sad thing.
How do we fortify these systems?
Not that I'm a prude,
No, I understand.
Not that, I like Bacchanal, I like Fet, I like, but then...
You can't be a drama and do like
True.
But how do we fortify these systems? How do we strengthen them so that the future benefits from it?
You have to remember that children learn what they live. And we have to go back to that. And that how important the education system is in terms of really molding young minds, you understand? To create the kind of society that we want to create. I mean, I don't want everybody walking around the place singing hymn and drinking honey and milk and that people will misinterpret what I'm saying. You understand? But we must know when and how to act. When you see the red light, you must have red means stop, not A.
Not speed up.
But
go faster.
Those kinds of things, you see?
But you are talking from the standpoint of the education system. You have been involved in curriculum reform, right?
Yes, I
But
have.
how do we get that curriculum reform at the level where it has to be implemented for now, our history to be taught in schools? Because as I understand it, it's a long process, and it takes somebody with that type of audacity to want to change the system.
It has to take the whole system. Everybody must be on the same page. There are things I would like to talk about because, I mean, I worked as a curriculum coordinator. I work with ministers. And I just can't say those things out publicly.
You have a national award and you can say what you want.
I like
You have a Chaconia Silver. Sit down here, no, sir.
I like
The
you.
floor is yours.
You would have been
I like
to the
you.
I know the president gave that,
Right.
It's an higher office.
Yes, I like you. And when I walk out here,
No, but I like what you said in terms of people getting on the same page, because I think there's too many differences of opinions.
We have to, as leaders, as educators, as people who need to understand that we have a responsibility for taking a nation forward. We must be on the same page. We can't be fighting one another. And then...
But for me, Mr. Edwards,
I would have liked to hear what he was going to say.
when we say leaders, right? I mean, we oftentimes refer to politicians, but there are so many people that lead our society in so many different ways.
No, I don't. But when I talk about yes. So leaders is not just politicians.
That's why I wanted to make sure we clarify that part.
You're a leader, because when I listen to you talking about your calypsos and trying to understand why men singing what they sing that's a way of helping to teach. I mean, the fact that you're playing calypsos in your breaks here to me, that's an important thing. Because wherever I go, if I have a lecture to do, if I have anything to present, I'm looking for a calypso that says something that leads me into my discussion, because I don't even know what the other people singing. You understand? I know calypso, so I want to be able to get people to understand. Where when I was doing Brighter Sun in 2013, Brighter Sun doesn't have any calypso in it, but I injected calypsos into the play so that people could understand. You know what I mean? The goal. You probably that.
Tiger.
Right. And I go plan calypso. I will plan and fix my affairs. I will plan provision and fix my affairs and let the war continue fighting 10,000 years. Those kinds of things, so that people understand that there were people who were singing about the social issues while things were happening, and that they're relevant. Listen, you have me talking here, talk about the things.
Maybe we bring it here to talk. I don't understand we talking the things.
But I want to talk about 1989. And I want to talk about
the scholarship?
The Wilbert Holder Memorial Scholarship, and how that kind of jettisoned me into, because if I didn't leave the work, I was already doing work, you understand? I was in TTT here in 1972, and I was telling the young lady, we filmed the whole play there, right? Only half was shown because somebody, the case in which it was being held, they had one date. So when the person see the date part, they take it and they went and they taped over it. So only half the shows, right? I was on TTT here for a whole year doing Know Your Country. We went straight to the final St. Benedict's College, yeah, against QRC in the 70s as well. And then I became an executive member of the Secondary Schools Drama Association, and I started to interview with Alison Hennessy and what's her name, who used to be with Alison again, you know. Yes, Julia Alcantara. Yeah,
he was here too, no?
Dale Kohler Singh, Bobby Thomas, all these people I interviewed with here, you know, all these years. But in 1989, when I was awarded that Wilbur Holder Memorial Scholarship, that really jettisoned me into the art, because it sent me now to study and to learn. You know, and I met people like Ifigo Wilkinson, Roll Gibbons, Albert Laveau, and these people, you know, and that helped me now to begin to understand, you know, and to chart my own course. When I read Rawls' thesis on towards a third theatre, I mean, things begin to open up, and then participate at the UE and so on. You know, that is what...
It gave you a deeper understanding and appreciation of the whole thing.
And then to practice. You know what I mean?
But I also want to know, for me, during that time, and I could be wrong, during that time, I believe the focus may have been more on the major types of subjects. So, for example, math, science, or whatever, but you took drama. I mean, how were you able to take it and do what you did with it for it to become this now? Was there any pushback from anybody else?
Well, because of my experience at the Secondary Schools Drama Festival and at the Drama Association, I fell in love with the thing. And I'll tell you that in the 70s to when I was still at school, I happened to, for somehow, I can't remember how, but I saw Derek Walcott's Joke of Seville at the Naparima Bowl. And that thing, it just blew my mind. Wilbert was in it, you understand, Albert Laveau, and that was a mind-boggling experience. And I said, boy, that is something that I could do.
So just for context, right? Albert Laveau and Royal Gibbons and these guys were older than you?
Of course.
Yeah, just making sure. I just check it. Right? So you would have been looking up to them, and then you got the chance to work with them.
Well, I didn't was looking up to them, but we were working alongside them. You know what I mean? Because I was already president of the Secondary Schools Drama Association. So we were doing work together. But they were influential in determining my pathway. You understand? Not the pathway into drama, but where that was leading.
Right.
You know what I mean? In terms of the idea of being of promoting yourself, of promoting your country, your own traditions, your heritage, your history, etc. And so through the drama, that was very, very important. And if you look at the plays that the theatre company that I'm now the artistic director of, you will see the kinds of plays that we've been doing. They're all based in our heritage tradition.
I mean, just the name alone.
I am from Irie Village in Princeton, one of the oldest villages in the country. You know, we're proud of that.
Now, one of the guys upstairs in the tech room is asking if you were instrumental in bringing plays to the Drama Association, Secondary Schools Drama Association, or was that always part of the...
No. Remember that James Lever, he founded that in 1965. I became president of the association in 1988, and we took a different direction. By 1992, we had sponsors and so on. By 1992, we had Barbados, Combermere High School visiting Trinidad. By 1994, we did our first Caribbean festival. When I told Ifibo, I said, Ifibo, I want to do a Caribbean festival. I know this theater arts thing, we have to popularize the thing. Ifibo said, you had to be mad. But it happened in 94, and it happened in 96, 98, 2000, 2002, 2004. You understand, on a regular basis, and the whole idea of the theatre arts in the Caribbean began to spread. Under Mrs. Manning, we formalized theatre arts on the curriculum in 2003. And then I am the one who also lobbied for the establishment of scholarships in the arts. People used to be getting scholarships in all kinds of different things.
Subjects,
and then I had to whisper.
This is government scholarships you're talking about?
Yeah. I whispered in Mrs. Manning's ear at the time that, listen, we need to start doing this, you know? And then I remember too, I don't know if you would remember when Patrick Manning was called elections early and so on. I was about to leave office and so on. He had some parties and so on up at the diplomatic center. And I spoke to him there as well, and I told him, I said, how you could have a national symphony, how you could have divine echoes, you have, all these things, and you don't have a national theater company.
And
now we have but I'm always about promoting and promoting, what we're doing. I mean, there's so much more we could talk about, but
yes.
I think a big part of it as well is not just promoting it, but you were able to successfully run some of these things.
Well, understand that because boy, listen, myself and the people in Port of Spain who do that kind of theater, we've never been on good terms, because when those things were happening in the 90s and I was struggling, really fighting hard to get the theater arts established in school. If you as a parent, you see what's happening outside there, right? And a child come and tell you, listen, I want to do theater arts. Pops!
Yeah.
And that is what was passing as theater. You understand? You wouldn't allow that to happen. So my good friend, she's deceased now, Myron Ali. We were very good friends. And I spoke about it, in the presence of a reporter who went and asked her about it and so on. And she said, well, if Victor don't like the kind of theater that we're doing, let him start his own theater company, which I eventually did. And I want to tell you, I will put my head on a block to tell you that our theater company is the longest standing company that's doing local work and surviving. When I say doing local work, I mean doing local work to the general public, spending $240,000, $160,000 to mount a production, and still surviving since 2010.
One thing before you go, Mr. Edwards, you would have mentioned the festival that was every 2 years running. Are we going to see a return of that? Is it happening right now? What's going on with that?
As a matter of fact, the chairman of the committee called me this year. Well, everybody calling me. People that ain't called me for 40 years and so on calling
That's
me.
what a national award does.
And congratulated me and so on,
Yes.
So he called and he said, yes, well, they had a little hiatus because of the COVID and so on, but they want to get started, and hopefully the festival should be in Dominica the next time it happens. Nice. So it keeps moving. It keeps moving around the Caribbean to keep people sensitized and so on. I feel so proud, that is something that I started.
Yeah.
And it continues after so many years.
How often do you think we should be updating the school curriculum when it comes to theater?
The school's curriculum is supposed to be updated every 5 years,
Supposed to be.
I'm going to end this.
No. But before I left curriculum in 2014.
Right.
It was updated just after I left.
Right.
And you have to give a little leeway for the COVID and so on and so on. But I know that I'm not concerned with what's happening in Ministry of Education right now. But I know that they're on the cusp of doing a rewrite.
Mr. Edwards, congratulations on your national award, the Chaconia Medal Silver.
Yeah.
I think definitely well deserved, and I want to thank you so much for joining us and sharing a bit of your story.
We didn't even get into the work that I have planned.
We just scratched the surface.
We have plans for the future,
Mr. Edwards, of course, congratulations. I think it is very, very major. I mean, honestly, I had to Google you to find out who you were. Sandwich True, yes. But I know who I'm sitting in the presence of. I know now, I've been schooled. And it really, really was a pleasure for you to join us here this morning. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. We take a quick break and we come back with more Inside the Now Morning Show. Stay tuned. Victor Edwards, National Awardee, here with us.